Friends forever, that's what we are. Through the thick and the thin, we're friendship stars. We're banger main buddies from the days of old. We laugh, cry, and hug, friendship solid as gold. My soul whatever started a year ago. We share our stories and your stories were told. 80s, 90s memories that give us glee. And on the block party shows, NKOTB. Now our friendship circle has grown by far. Hashtag friends forever, that's what we all are. Boom. And if you don't know, now you know. My so-called whatever for life. Hashtag MSCW. Hashtag friends forever. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hey.
it's Thursday.
It is Thursday.
We haven't recorded in a couple weeks.
I know.
No, we haven't recorded in a couple weeks because I was gone, but now I'm back. And we just finished recording. We don't have much of an intro because we have an awesome episode coming up.
Yes, we do. Yeah. It's
Like right around the corner.
it's like right just keep listening. It's
Like-
gonna be right there.
It's right there.
right. And it's with Roger Ortega.
Yay!
Yeah. So
We had a great conversation. You guys will
we
hear it.
Totally did. And we love Roger. And you're going to love him too. He is so amazing. And he's a blockhead. And he was perfect for our block party episode this week.
Absolutely.
So,
Perfect episode.
yes.
Perfect conversation.
Yes.
Hey, it's a perfect Thursday.
It is a perfect Thursday. So, without further ado, here's the episode.
This is Brooke.
And this is Nikki.
And this is Roger.
Yay.
And this is my so-called whatever.
yes,
Yay.
it is.
Welcome to the block party. We ain't leaving out.
Nobody.
Nobody.
And
That's right.
definitely not Roger.
No, because he's here with us today.
Yay. Welcome.
Couldn't be more excited. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you.
I
So
know. I feel
excited.
like it's been a long time coming.
It has been. Oh my gosh, it has been.
I did.
Roger has been the most patient, I have to say. So many things happened. And then we finally got it on the schedule, right? We
Right.
finally got it on the
Right.
schedule. That I got my schedule, like my basketball schedule. It was either like later that day
It
or
was
the
like that. It was like that
following
day.
And I'm
Like
like,
it was
are you-
Right, it was
crazy.
the same day.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Of course I have a game.
Oh,
Played a game
man.
today. Roger was very, very patient with me and with us and waited until later tonight so that we could record. And so we really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Well, you know what's funny is I completely forgot that we had moved the time back, and so around 6:30, or I think it was my time here in the East Coast, which I think you guys are in the East Coast as well.
Yeah,
We are.
Yes, we are.
But I was like 6:30. I had my headphones on, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay, I guess
no.
are they gonna call? And then I was like sitting there, so I was like, well, maybe I'll practice my guitar a little bit. And so I was practicing, and I thought after about maybe a half an hour, I was like, let me look at the time again. And I was like, oh, it's like a whole hour and a
Aw.
half later.
Oh,
So,
no. Sorry.
I was ready. It's all good. It's not your fault. I just my memory. I have the memory of a goldfish.
Oh,
So,
me too. I have to put everything on my Google Calendar or it doesn't exist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like we said, we have Roger on our block party episode because if you didn't know, Roger is a blockhead, just like us.
I am.
And now
I
you know.
am.
And
That's right.
we're going to have him tell you guys a little bit about him to start
Yep.
with. And then we're going to get into like your new kid's roots.
Got it. That sounds like a plan.
All right.
So for those of you that don't know, my name is Roger Ortega. I'm an R&B pop recording artist. I'm a voting member of the National Recording Academy, which means I get to vote for the Grammys, which is actually a really cool thing because you have to be accepted to be able to do that. And my credentials, thank goodness, got me in that position. I was actually able to go to the Grammys a couple of years ago. I got invited again this year, but I'm not going to be able to go, unfortunately.
Oh.
I've put out 2 R&B pop recording albums. The first one, R&B Pop Writer, in 2012, was my debut album at 37 years old, if you can believe that. And that album hit number 62 on iTunes. And then in 2016, I put out The Lottery, and that got all the way up to number 8 on
Wow,
iTunes.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, man. And I got to tell you, man, I've loved the New Kids my entire life. but their fans, they have trained their fans. And I would say a good 50 to 60% of my fans, which I call Roros, are BHs and they're blockheads.
Yeah.
And when something comes out, they snag it up, man. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, because they're used to it. Because if you don't snag it up, it's not gonna be there because the new kid stuff goes so fast.
That's right.
And
Right.
so, but these women are very loyal and they are a force. If you can get, a group of women like that behind you, the sky's the limit. And I've been blessed that they've been able to that I've been able to have the support of these women and guys, because there's some blockhead bros out there too.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. We've gotten a chance to meet a few of them, and that's been amazing.
Yeah.
This is an awesome story. Like, I didn't realize that you were a voting member. That's awesome.
No, I know. That's so cool.
Yeah, what's funny is I did a show, I don't know, I can't remember, a couple of years ago, and one of the things that I was talking about was where my wife and I came from. We're from Kansas originally, and I actually met her about 5 days before I moved from Kansas to New York to pursue my dream. I had a record deal with my old R&B pop group, and Heather was my wife. Heather was at my last concert before our going away concert before we moved, and she moved up here. Things didn't work out with the group, with the record deal and all that. And I remember, like, there were times we could barely afford bus money to get to work, and I mean, we're talking scrounging up change to get on a bus. And when I got the invitation, when I saw that my album was up for consideration for a Grammy, not nominated, there's a difference, but it was up for consideration, and my name was up there with Beyonce and all these other amazing artists. I mean, I grabbed her and I cried, and we cried. I'm like, do you remember like when this was just like a dream, like when we could barely afford this, and now we're going to the Grammys,
So
like
crazy.
it's nuts. And so it's sometimes, whenever I see that little Grammy symbol, like when I got the invitation a week or two ago, even though I couldn't go, it still means something to me, and I think that'll forever mean something to me, because I earned that.
Yeah. I'm
And
sure it
so
takes you right back too.
it
to that
does.
first
It
time.
does. It absolutely does. It validated all the painful moments, and all the struggles to do what I do,
Mhm.
and so it's worth it. But yeah, I get to do that, and it's really cool to vote for these people.
So cool.
That
That's
really
such a great
is.
story.
That
Thank
really
you.
is. Oh my gosh.
So you're from Kansas. You moved to
Yes,
New
ma'am.
York,
Right.
and now you are in
New Jersey.
New
So I
Jersey.
live.
Okay.
Yeah. So we live in New Jersey. My wife has never wanted to live in in New York City proper,
Okay.
and so we got to have a little bit of distance from that. But yeah, we live in East Rutherford, New Jersey for now, and
Nice.
eventually we'll want to get out of this cold weather.
We hear you on that. We hear you on
Ding,
that.
ding, ding.
Being
Yes.
up
Where are
in
you guys
Maine.
located?
We're in Maine, Bangor, Maine.
Oh, I can't even complain to y'all.
Yes, it is. We just got a snowstorm that you guys had, and
yeah.
it dumped on us, but it's actually been warm, so
It has. Like today was kind of
today
nice.
was beautiful. Yeah. So, and
Oh,
it's
man.
supposed to be 50 degrees next week. So I'll take that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, welcome to Maine. Like
But-
it's so weird.
But you know what? I still, like you, I would like to move south.
I would
sometime.
Yeah.
yes. I would like
Yeah.
to be outside on my deck
Florida?
right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Recording.
That would be nice. That would be nice to be outside on your deck.
80 degrees.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't even go outside today. I was supposed to go I only have a few things. Like I am 90% done with Christmas shopping, and I was
Wow,
gonna
I'm impressed.
go
Good
shopping.
Good for you.
I was gonna go shopping today and knock out either the rest of it or a good portion of that. But I was so grumpy, and I cannot tell you why. Because I don't know why. Like my wife was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know why I'm so I could not get off the couch, and I just sat there and was miserable watching TV off and on all day. And but I'm good now. Maybe it's because of y'all. Maybe you guys got
Hey.
me out of it. So.
Oh, good. Well, you're making us happier, so there we go.
It's all love eternal, right?
Yeah,
There we go.
Spread love
exactly.
and love will spread. So
Let's talk about
here we
that
go.
tattoo real quick.
Oh my gosh.
Donnie's new tattoo.
Yeah, the BH one.
Oh my
Man.
gosh.
That's cool.
When I watched the whole damn thing.
That Donnie Wahlberg.
I went to my husband took me to New York for my birthday this past weekend. It was a completely surprise trip, and it was a day. So we drove down, stayed the night, and then drove back. So
that's awesome.
It was kind of so. On the way home, I was watching Donnie's
tattoo.
Yes, or it was maybe it was on the way down. But wow, that's
awesome.
So cool.
It was really awesome.
I love that he kept talking about, hey, all these women, all these people come to me and they show me the New Kids on the Block tattoos, and people say they're crazy. And he's like, now I'm going to get this. I'm getting this for you. And I'm like, yeah, Donnie, you're getting it for me. Now it's time for me to go get one.
I think it's so awesome. I think it's so awesome that he did that. I mean, it's funny. The very first time I met him, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here or not on
you're
your
good.
Oh, hey, you're good.
Your schedule. I didn't even know I was going to meet him. And my wife and I were driving back from North Carolina, because we go down there every year. It's an annual trip we do with some friends. Nice. And my wife was like, hey, this was, I don't remember the year now. This was, I think it's probably 2011. I was just starting to get back into music again. And this is before everything took off, before I even knew the blockheads, this whole Twitterverse existed. And she was reading something on her phone. She goes, hey, Jordan Knight's doing a release party for his new songs, his new video single. Stingy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I said, where? She's like, in the city. She goes, you should go. And I'm like, do you want to go? And she's like, no, it's okay. You go, And I'm like, I guess I'll go, whatever. And I was like, maybe I'll try to meet him. Because I met him once a few years before that. I was like, okay. So I took my little thumb drive with my little crappy demo music on it. And I'm standing in line and talking to this lady who's there. And she's explaining to me that, the blockheads are all over Twitter. And I'm like, I had no idea. I had no idea these guys were active on Twitter, let alone the fans and everything. Right. She's like, yeah, this girl's always at this thing. This girl's always at that. I'm like, what things? I didn't even know they were doing things, and so she's like, have you ever met the guys? And I told her about when I met Jordan. I said, but I'd really love to meet Donnie sometime, I was always a Jordan girl. My entire life, I was a Jordan girl.
Me too.
Yay,
I am now a Donnie girl.
We are all Donnie girls.
We are all Donnie girls.
Saying. We are all Donnie girls.
So she goes, you're going to get to meet Donnie tonight. I'm like, I am? She's like, yeah. She goes, he's here. I said, how do you know? She goes, he's standing right there with Jordan. They're taking pictures with everybody before they go into the studio or into the theater. I was like, no way. I'm like, awesome. So I get up there and, we all do the dude hug thing, and so we took the picture and I was like, hey, I said, do you mind if I give you this? And Donnie's like, sure. What is it? Your demo? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you a writer or a singer? I was like, both. And he's like, cool, man. And he put it in his pocket or whatever. And then we joked around a little bit. And that was that. So we went into the theater. And Jordan's doing the video, and the girls are going nuts or whatever. And before it's over, Jordan must have performed the song 3 or 4 times because the crowd just kept wanting to sing it over and over again. And as he's doing it, I think his last time through, I noticed Donnie going through the entire movie theater, seat by seat, giving everybody hugs. Everybody hugs all the way through, seat by seat, row by row. And when he got to me, he hugged me and then put his finger up like, hold on a second, reached back in his pocket, pulled out the demo and kind of winked at me and put it back in his pocket. And I thought at that moment, I'm like, this guy, whether he listens to this or not, knows how to work his fans.
Yes.
And I learned so much in that moment from him that I'm like, everybody you meet, you give them that Oh,
It's like
that
it's
real moment.
personalized.
Yeah, that genuine moment that you're the only person in the world that exists, or they're the only person in the world that exists. In
Yes.
that moment, that will last a lifetime for some people. And I learned all of that from that man in that moment, and just watched him finish going through, hugging everyone, and it was amazing. And I continue to learn from this guy, and yeah, I mean that's I don't know how we got started talking about this, but
No,
we're just talking
no,
about the
this is
love that he has
great.
for his fans, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
love that he has for his fans, and the appreciation, and it's genuine, it's real, um, and he gives back when he can, and I think like the Toys for, or not the Toys for Tots, the Target thing, the Heroes thing he did
Yes.
today,
That's
um,
amazing. Like it's like
absolutely.
how are you like how does he spread himself so
So thin.
evenly? Well, and I
Yeah,
mean you think but it's really even because
yeah,
it's like he's everywhere
Yeah.
and it's
right,
100%. And
right,
it's like I don't want him to, I, when we first started this, I was like, oh my gosh, Donnie, I don't want you to get sick. Like, and people
yeah,
were like, this is how he's always been. Like,
yeah,
this is how it's
This is
always
Donnie.
been.
yeah,
And to me, it just completely blows my mind.
Oh yeah.
Just how
absolutely,
incredible he is to his fans. And
yeah,
yeah. And then you hit the nail on the head when you said like, you feel like you're the only person at that moment
right,
that and like he knows you, like that's how you
right,
feel. He makes you feel like, hey, I know you,
right.
And you matter. Like you are.
right,
Like
and
you're important to me.
exactly, that's the
And can
biggest
we
part.
and can we talk about his hugs?
Oh
Because
yes.
it's funny that like I've always been a hugger my entire life, and I remember my high school music teacher is like, I never met anybody that hugs as much as you do,
That's
um,
awesome.
and but man, I learned something about his hugs too. When you're hug, like I come in and I hug people, but then there's like the squeeze too.
Yeah.
You get that little that tight squeeze,
Yes.
and that takes it to another level for fans.
It sure
And
does.
squeeze them like that. It's also a genuine moment that I have with them for that split, second
Hmm.
of that squeeze. And again, something I learned from our boy. So
It's seriously,
He's like magic.
he is like magic. It's like he's
mhm.
like, well, he's not the unicorn because we all know that Jordan's the unicorn,
Right.
but it's like a magical, I don't even
Right.
know. I don't even
He's
know.
like a magical gnome.
I wasn't ready for it. Like I wasn't
Mm-mm.
prepared for the magic.
Right.
Because I'm not a hugger. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a hugger. Let me just put it that way.
Right.
I wasn't a hugger before New Kids on the Block and before this
Right.
community. Because
Right.
everybody hugs. And
Mm-hmm.
when Donnie hugged me, I was like, that is like a hug that I've never gotten before in my
It's
entire
like the hug I've been
life.
wanting my whole life and I didn't even know
Yes,
it.
I didn't even know I needed it. And
right.
and then I was afraid that I like squeezed him too hard because he kept going harder. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Here we go.
So, oh my
man.
gosh, it's so amazing. It's so awesome to hear your perspective too, coming from a guy,
Right.
Yeah.
that's,
It's
yeah.
I remember I used to get questioned a lot then, and regarding my my fandomship to the New Kids. Like, is it legitimate? Are you just playing the girls so that you can get their fans? No. No, I'm like legit a fan, have legit been a fan since the 80s, and it's all real. It's all real. My love, my appreciation, my these guys. Since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a singer.
Hmm.
But when I woke up one morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, to go to school, and I turn on the TV and I see these five white guys just killing it, dancing and singing the right stuff, I was like, who is this guy, Jordan Knight? I was like, this is the coolest guy walking the planet. And then I was like, you know what? I want to be a singer, but I was too shy to do it by myself. was like, maybe I start a group, and so I grabbed my cousin and grabbed a friend, and we started off doing New Kids on the Block songs, and we were singing along with the tape in some instances, and some of them we had instrumentals, or we made our own instrumentals, but they were a big influence on my life and my career. Cool. Huge. I sing a lot in my falsetto, and I get a lot of compliments on my falsetto. And that's because of Jordan Knight. That's because of El DeBarge. And those two guys with their falsettos really, really influenced me. And so, yeah, man, I'm a real fan.
I love it.
That falsetto is like no other.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say, because you hear that, nobody does it like Jordan Knight. No, he just doesn't.
I mean, you just know it's him.
You're just like, oh, yep, Jordan Knight, that's him. Yep.
Yeah, it's a very distinct.
Yes.
I remember reading something in like some Teen Beat magazine or whatever those magazines were, and it just said his high flying falsetto, and that, when they described it that way, it clicked something in my mind about how to control it and how to sing it and how to make it feel like that, and because again, because I wanted to be just like him. I even had the hair very similar to that.
We need to see pictures.
Yes, I would love to see pictures.
Yes.
I've got to find some, but they're out there somewhere.
Did you have the rat tail?
Yeah, did you have the rat tail?
Okay, so I did.
Yes.
But mine was on the side. It was a rat tail.
Whoa.
And I used to call it my love tail.
Oh, even better.
I remember like when I finally cut it off, like it was like my senior year in high school, I think, and the girls were like, "Oh, how are we going to know it's you? Like we can always tell it's you from behind, when you see the rat tail on the side, It's like, yeah." But yeah, I had a rat tail.
I gotta see these.
Did you braid it?
Yeah, did you braid it?
I did.
Yes,
I did. It was braided. I used to have earrings. I don't have earrings anymore. I wish I still did though. But I used to have earrings because Jordan Knight had earrings, and George Michael had earrings, and George Michael was my number one. That was my number one.
George Michael.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
George Michael was a legend.
Yes. Absolutely. He's my number one. But yeah, I had earrings and all that stuff, and I wanted to be the pretty boy, and so it was fun. It got me through high school.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about, like, everybody has their like New Kids discovery story, like that first time that you heard them and you were like, you know what, I like this and I want some more.
That would have been that morning that I woke up and saw them on MTV before I went to school. And since then I was hooked. However, then of course they went away. It came back in 2008, and I actually had tickets to the concert that they were doing at Madison Square Garden for my wife and I to go. Unfortunately, she was sick, and we were getting married in Kansas a few days. She was leaving for Kansas the next day. She didn't want to get worse, so she didn't go. So I called like 5 or 6 people. I'm like, hey, man, I got tickets to New Kids on the Block concert. You want to go? They're like, the what? New Kids on the Block? No, I'm good. So by the time I got to like my 6th or 7th person, I'm like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Oh, nothing. You want to go to a concert? Who is it? Well, are you free? Do you want to go to a concert?
Yes. That's the way to do it.
Man, I'll tell you, I ended up going with like one of our nanny, I think, at the time. I was like, well, this will be fun. She's young, but not young enough to not know who they are, you know? And we get there and she's like, yeah, my sister was a big fan. I just kind of know some of their stuff. I'm like, oh, I want to be there with like a fan, you know? I wanted to be there. And she was cool. She got into it. But when I saw these guys come out and look better than they ever had, and sound better than they ever had, I was blown away, and I was like, sign me up. Where are we going next? You know, what's next with these guys? To me, The Block is the best album that they've put out.
That is my absolute ultimate 110%.
Yeah.
You can listen
The
to
best.
that over and over and over, and it never gets old. It never gets
No.
old.
It's perfect for them because, and it's a perfect comeback album. It had
Yes.
enough of the pop, but it was rooted in that urban R&B. Had that R&B hip hop sense to it in some songs. It was an adult album,
Mm-hmm.
and it was done and produced and written so well. I mean, you look at the producers they worked with on that album.
It was
They had
perfect.
Akon, they had Lady Gaga, they had
Yeah.
they were working with New Edition. Like this album was just crazy, and to me, that's the best album that they've put out, production wise and vocally. Granted, you can't go wrong with Hanging Tough, but
No, right.
but the block is, there hasn't been anything since that's really grabbed me like that album has.
Right. Now I can remember that was my go-to every morning, every single morning driving to work. I listened to that for 3 years straight driving to work. And like, because then I started working at home, and then guess what I did? Every morning I played the block. Like, and then eventually they came out with their other album a couple years later. But
Right.
but still, the
Right.
block was in heavy rotation.
That
Yeah.
album is perfect. It is, in my opinion, the best New Kids album. Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm even gonna say it by a mile. Like I
yeah,
love it.
Easily. I think, I was really surprised though, I gotta say, that their first single wasn't one of the other songs. I was really surprised that their first single was Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me I love the song, especially now because they do it live and everything. And I love the video, but that to me was one of the weaker songs on the album. And I think that they could have really made a statement if they would have put out one of the more, like Click, 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 or,
Yeah.
Something else, just to be like, hey, we're back. But I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
I can't argue with that, but I was just surprised that was the first single.
Well, I
off
think
of
the
that
video says it all, because I can remember that video and I'm like, what's going on? Who's touching Jordan? Who's touching Joe? No, don't touch him like that. Like, because, you're still, I feel, and I don't know if you feel the same way, Roger. And Brooke, I don't know if you feel the same way, but when I hear their music, I'm that 10-year-old girl, because I was like,
Mhm.
when they came out, I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And it was my life. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
New Kids were my life. And I grew up with New Kids on the Block.
And anything they touched, like anything,
Yeah.
like how, even like when Jordan did that song with Tommy Page.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, I'm a real fan. People
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
are.
People don't know. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, that whole thing, I was immersed in that, and my cousin loved the music too, and that's what got us together to really start a group. And we would listen to all their songs and which one would work best for us, So yeah, man, when I'm very like obsessive compulsive. So when I find something that I like, I lock on, and I locked on.
I can relate.
To the New Kids. And,
I can relate.
And so like that went on, and then of course like the next group to really come in for me and do that was actually Color Me Bad.
Oh,
Color
Me
that
Bad.
group, yeah. So as my group got older, we eventually changed our names and changed members and whatnot, because we were a different group than we were when we started.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin was no longer in it, and another couple of friends had come and gone through that group, but now we knew this was the group. And I remember we were looking for names for the group, and one of my best friends was like, well, what about Slow Motion? I'm like, Slow Motion, like the song on Color Me Bad's first album? They're like, yeah, man. They're like, no, because I'm like, I mean, because we were a multicultural group too. It was a
Yeah.
Mexican, 2 black guys and a white guy, and I was like, I'd love to do that, because they were my favorite group at that point in the entire world. And I was like, but I'm scared. What if we meet them and they hate us and we get sued? And they were like, Boys the Men did it with New Edition song. I'm like,
Yay.
all right. So we named ourselves Slow Motion, and we went on and did really well. And at one point, we got to make a long story short, we got to meet Color Me Bad
No
after a show one
way.
time.
Oh, cool.
And because we got asked by our local arena to open up for Color Me Bad. And we were like, holy crap, we're going to open up for our favorite group. And so we're flipping out. And then all of a sudden, like the arena stopped calling us back. And they weren't telling us anything. So we heard Color Me Bad was going to be doing a radio show, promo show around like an hour away from us one night when we were rehearsing. So we're like, let's go down there and try to meet them. So we get there and it's like John B. Who's it? John B. Tony Rich. You remember Tony Rich?
Oh yeah,
Nobody
Tony
knows
Rich.
it but me.
That let me
And,
tell you about that album.
Yeah, the Tony Rich project.
Nikki knows
I
that.
I know that album. Let me tell you.
Nikki knows that.
Yeah, it was a good album. So him and all these guys were on this show. So we went and we got there late. So we were already in the back of the line. It's a free concert. So we were like, I was like, here's our plan, guys. Let's spread out, talk to girls, tell them we're in a group, and then we'll sing for them, right?
Yes.
And when they're clapping, because they will clap, we were pretty good, and we knew they were going to clap. We'll move up in line, and sure enough, we did that until we got to the front of the line.
Oh,
and
amazing!
It was pretty awesome. So we get up there, Color Me Bad performs or whatever. We give Brian our demo from the stage or whatever, and then they leave the stage, and we were like, let's leave the venue. See, you take one corner, you take one corner. There's four of us, so we're bound to see somebody come out of a door.
Right.
So sure enough, we found their limo. They come out walking up, and I swear it was like, I swear they were in slow motion and the wind was blowing in their hair. but they come out and they're like, hey, what's up, fellas? Really, really down to earth guys. And so they're looking at us and we're looking at them, and it's kind of awkward for us. There's this awkward silence. And I was like, so we're a group? And Sam, the Kenny G guy,
yeah,
he's like, yeah, we kind of figured that. I was like, can we sing for you? They're like, sure. And so we sang a song we wrote, sang it a cappella. And when their mouths dropped, like their jaws just dropped, like, wow. I was like, that was the best moment of my life.
Wow.
And so they were afterwards, they were like, so what's up? What's your name? And I was like, oh God, I don't want to tell them, but we were like, Slow Motion. And they all just kind of looked at each other, and they smiled, and they're like, "That's dope." Well, actually, that was cool, not dope. But anyway,
and you got their approval.
Yeah, we got their approval. We exchanged numbers, and this is back when pagers were a thing. You guys remember those?
Oh yeah.
And we had stopped to get gas, and one of the guys' pagers went off, and we called it back, and it was a voicemail from the lead singer, from Brian, and he sang some riff or whatever, and he was like, yo, what's up? This is Brian from Color Me Bad. Just want you to know we think y'all are fresh. I don't know if you have management or not, but we really want to work with you guys. Here's our numbers,
Wow.
So we gave them a call over the next couple of days, and they invited us out to some shows, and we got to perform, and we did a few shows with them, and it was just the craziest thing ever. So that's another group that really inspired me as well.
That's amazing.
And all these years later, like, it's weird. I can pick up the phone and call these guys, and like Mark Calderon is actually doing a lot of stuff on his own now. He was the George Michael looking guy in the group, and we talk a couple times a month or whatever, and they're really proud of my success, and I'm still a fan and all that. And it's cool. It's just really cool that these guys like that from back in the day, like to have these guys know you, like when you walk up and Donnie sees you in the crowd, and Donnie, like, he'll give you that wink, and or he'll reach all the way out to give me a pound, like from the stage. And I remember one time he did that, and this girl was trying to take his hand, and he slapped it away, and I felt so bad. I try to hang back as much as I want to work my way up to the front and be right there. To me, listen, this is about the ladies. This is about you guys, So I try to just hang back just a little bit, but trust me, on the inside, I'm screaming and I'm fighting and I'm pulling hair to get to the front if I can. But, I try to be respectful of the ladies, So, but yeah, again, that's I don't know how we had talked about all
No,
this.
this
Okay,
is this is the way
but
the podcast
This
goes.
is the way it
Like
goes.
we
okay,
just
It
chat.
flows.
It's just a chit chat like amongst
yeah,
friends. It's like we're sitting around in a room,
I love it.
maybe drinking some wine or some
There
beer
you go.
Or some
and
Diet
Right.
Coke.
or some root beer.
There we go.
whatever your poison.
Whatever tickles your
Right.
fancy.
That's it, exactly right. So this is seriously how we do it. We like having something that's not like completely scripted, you know, like we talked
Yeah.
about.
Right.
We try to get an outline going,
Right.
but
Right.
and we do that for our guests. But like with Donnie, for instance, we had an outline. That just went
That
boom.
didn't happen.
It was poof. It was gone.
Right.
It
Right.
was gone.
Gone.
So and hey,
Oh,
and
man.
it makes it even better when it's like that. It seriously does.
Yeah. Well, I'm having a great time and
Cool.
reliving some memories that I, hadn't had been able to talk about in a long time or think about. So
Oh,
this is
color
cool.
me
This is
bad.
really cool.
I know, that's so
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
Color me bad.
We got to see them. We got to see them at
Yeah.
the I Love the 90s.
I love the 90s.
Yeah. They were
I'll bet you
fantastic.
there's probably a good chance I can probably, if you guys want, that I can probably get Mark on this podcast with me
What?
sometime.
What? That'd be
That would
amazing.
be amazing.
I will do what I can. I'll talk to him about it,
Yes.
and see if he'd be open to it.
Oh my
So,
God.
Oh my
Gosh.
gosh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do.
I know.
It would be like
That'd be awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. Mark and I have a similar tone when we sing, and even when we talk. And you know, I always would imitate him, like with the group when we'd be joking around. I'd do his verse on "I Adore Me More" or whatever. I'd be like,
Mm.
"Chica, tú eres mi vida, la ternura," and I would just try to mimic him. And so when we became friends with the guys, I would call KT, who was the only black guy in the group, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Kev?" And he's like, "Oh, what's up, Mark?" I was like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And I talked to him for 2 or 3 minutes before I'd be like, "Hey, man, this is Roger." He's like, "Oh, man, come on, man." He's like, "I thought you were Mark." He's like, "I'm glad I didn't tell you any dirty secrets." You know? But yeah. No, Mark's a good guy. So I'll talk to him and see if I can make that happen.
Oh, thanks
No
for
That'd be
putting in a
promises.
amazing.
No
Hey,
promises.
No, we're not
but
holding you to
we
anything
won't
either,
hold
but
you
we
to anything,
appreciate it.
but putting in a
Gosh.
good word
Yeah.
for us, we appreciate it because
I will.
we do
Absolutely.
love New Kids on the Block, but we are also all about the 80s and the 90s too.
Absolutely.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
I love it.
we didn't say that in the beginning, but
No,
this
we
is
did
our block
not.
party episode. But each week we go back and forth. So we'll have one
Beautiful.
week 80s and 90s, and then but this week is the block party with
This
Roger
is
Ortega,
All
and
about
that is
block party.
it's all about Roger Ortega today.
Yep.
This is great. This is great. You know, it's funny. Like I love the guys. I respect what they do. And I think a couple of years ago, someone approached me about recording and writing a version of their song "Thankful," that was going to be
I saw
from the
that.
fans to them. Yeah,
Yes, that was the
and I
my
thought
first
that was
introduction to you.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh man, I wish I had done a better recording.
Oh, it
but-
was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was so cool though. I was like, man, that'd be awesome to do. Yeah, I love the guys, and I wrote from the heart. Like, what would we say to these guys? You know,
Mhm.
what do we have to be thankful for? And luckily their song was already, I had an outline already, so it made it even easier just to change some lyrics. Just had to make sure that I didn't Weird Al Yankovic it up. You know.
Yeah. No, it was
But,
very well done.
so I
Very
had a
well
good
done.
time doing that. And I actually, we spoke about me coming on earlier this year in the summer. I had written a song called "Goodbye to Summer," and that song
Yes.
was initially written for New Kids on the Block.
Really?
And yes, and so the way this went down was my wife and I were going to Mexico for a vacation or whatever, and or not or whatever, it was a vacation. So we were on the plane, and I'm just thinking, man, how many times have we said goodbye to summer? Like, how many summers have we had? And I thought, how many times have we said goodbye to summer? And when I said that, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that's a good title for a song.
Yeah.
And so I initially started thinking about, I would write this, like I've been with my wife forever, and this is going to be a love song to her. And on the plane, it hit me, and I'm like, no, this should be this is going to be, it's a summer love song. Let's make this about summer love. And then it hit me. I'm like, no, this is going to be about the New Kids on the Block tour. That's what it's
Oh,
going to be like.
yes.
Because
Mm.
how many times, how depressed is everyone when the shows are over, right?
So
How
depressed.
sad are we? But the guys, and the tours are typically in the summer.
Right.
Yep.
And so the song really is like, listen, guys, how many times, this is them saying to you guys, you know, how many times have we said goodbye to summer, yet we always come back. So don't be sad, we'll be back. And so it's like the chorus is like, how many nights have you missed me? I always find my way back, like the first time you kissed me, meaning like, you know, all the way back. I mean, like the first time you kissed me, wish we could make this last, but as the sun goes up and it comes back down, there will not be another, just the way that it was last time we said goodbye to summer.
Oh,
And that's all about the tour. That is all about their tours. The entire song is. And the way I wrote it, I think I had Jordan, when I demoed it, I tried to sound like the guys a little bit. And I think I had Jordan on the first verse, and then Joe on the second verse, and then the bridge was all Donnie. I had to go back in and re-record it because it sounded like the way Donnie sings. He's not
Yeah.
necessarily a singer. He's more of a kind of a shouter, you know.
yes.
So I tried to mimic that when I demoed the song for them. But that's what that song is about. That song is about summer tour, and that they're always going to be there. That they'll love us all year long. And you know, like that's I think that's what the bridge is. I think of this is Don, would have been Donnie's part. I think of you all year long. Had a summer love so strong. Gonna see you when the spring is gone, but we still have today. And that's what that song is really about. And
Wow.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
so I
So
love
now
that
we get
song.
to
I really,
re-listen, and I
Yeah.
want to
yeah.
hear all the different parts now. That's so
Well,
cool.
well, now too. Now, well, I had to go back in and re-record it, so it won't. You might be able to pick up a little bit on it, but I had to change my vocal for my own version of it. You know,
Yeah.
because after it didn't get picked up, because they were working on the Hanging Tough 30. Was it 30 years?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they were going in a different direction, and I was like, I don't want to sit on this song. Like this song, I don't want to wait for, you know, I don't know when they're going to do something else. Like I need to get this song out. And because at that point I hadn't put out a song in over a year.
Mhm.
But I knew the song was a good song when I was writing it. I wrote it on the plane to Mexico, on the plane ride to Mexico, but I didn't have anything to write down. Like my phone had died. I didn't take a pen and pencil. I didn't have anything. I wrote the entire song in my head on the way to Mexico.
Wow.
And 5 or 6 days later, when I got back on the plane to go home, I remembered every single lyric and everything. And I called my producer when I landed, and I was like, dude, I got to get in tomorrow. And we got in and we laid the demo down. But I was like, the fact that I remembered everything about the song was like, this is a good one. And
Yeah.
it's just a fun
Yeah.
pop song. Like you hear it and you're like, this would be awesome to see the New Kids do on the tour, you know? And so now I do it in my shows, and if I'm outdoors or, you know, wherever, I'll have like the beach balls come out, because I had another song from the lottery that I always bring the beach balls out on, but this one's more appropriate now because it's actually, you know, summer song. It's at the end of the show and we bring out the beach balls and all that fun stuff. But yeah, man, that was for them. That was for them. They just
That's cool.
they didn't go that direction with this album. So yeah.
To have a song written about you. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to explain it, from a fan to an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
really
like-
cool.
it's
Like
full
what a
circle.
unique
It's
that's a
full circle.
unique experience.
Yeah.
For
It-
them.
it was cool.
Right.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's cool to have the perspective of, you know, that and the ability to do what I did with that, you know, to be able to look at it from both sides and say, okay, I know enough about the New Kids to know this is what they would say to their fans about, you know, this is what they say all the time. How much does Donnie tell everyone how much he loves them, you know?
Right.
And this song is a love letter to the fans from the summer tour perspective. So hoping that there's a summer tour next year, but you never know.
Right.
So,
Yes. Fingers
so
crossed.
are you guys cruising?
Well, this is a sad story, but Brooke is not, but
I'm
I
not.
am.
Oh, Brooke. Okay, Brooke, I'm sorry. I'm not either.
Oh, you're
But
not?
no,
Oh no.
not this year. I seem to have gone through like every other year. I think starting in 2014. I think I've been on 3 of them, maybe. But I don't like to leave my wife, and she doesn't like to leave the kids. So, and we're not taking the kids
Understood.
on that cruise.
Understood.
Right.
But this year in particular, I would have gone had my daughter's sweet 16 not
Oh,
fallen on that weekend.
you
Oh,
can't do
So
yeah. No.
I,
Like
I've, yeah, she was like, I've missed a couple of her birthdays because of shows.
mhm,
And this was one I couldn't miss, especially if it's not a show.
right.
I'm not making money
yeah.
on this, so I can't really justify it to my wife or my daughter. So I was like, yeah, no, I can't do it. And much too, you guys know Flav. Um, Flav is he's like one of Donnie's right hand men, like
We know of him.
Yeah.
Passport Flav.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, that's one of my really really good friends, and he'll be on the cruise. As he's always with Donnie, but
Right.
he was like, dude, is there any way can you move the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you get Donnie to move the cruise, and I'm good.
Right.
But
Right. That
but
would
so
be
no,
amazing for Brooke.
Yeah.
oh, is it timing for you, Brooke?
Well, we have a family vacation planned
Oh,
and like
oh,
paid. So like
Yeah.
booked,
yeah,
paid,
yeah.
school break
Oh,
for kids and
I get
Right.
it.
all that. Yep.
Yeah, the spring break, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm
dang it.
bringing my family with me, not on the cruise, but to Florida. And then I'm going away for a few days and then coming back.
I
So
have so much respect for that. I have so much respect. Yes, that's awesome. That's
my
awesome.
husband's like, that's the best way to do it. We'll go to some parks while you're gone, and
Right,
then when you come
right.
back, we'll do something, and then we're gonna drive back home to Maine. So that will be
Wow.
interesting.
Wow.
We've
Wow.
done it before.
I'm going to tell you now, you're not driving back to Maine because you're going to be
Nope.
sleeping.
No, I am
You're
not.
going to be
Nope.
sleeping.
I am definitely not driving back. No, no, no. I am going to be
Yeah, man.
passed out probably because, like, we were talking about, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but when we
Hmm.
got back from the cruise last time, it was like a
Yeah.
sleep like no other. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
sleep
yeah,
through
yeah.
the day and you're like,
Hmm.
what is this, Tuesday? No, it's Thursday. What? Where did that
Right.
go?
What
Yeah.
happened?
Right.
Yeah. You find you muster up the energy to get through the entire night,
Right.
and then you get a couple hours of sleep and you grab breakfast, you go out, you do whatever you're doing. And you live on cat naps, really, that entire cruise. Like, it's all
Yes.
cat naps. There's
Yeah.
no good. If you're sleeping on that cruise, you're not doing it right.
No.
So,
We thought we were going to get our sleep, but nope.
No.
No.
Yeah.
There
we
was
didn't.
one day I did, but
That's
that was
right.
because I didn't get off the ship in Nassau.
Right.
I've been there
that's
enough.
okay though.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I've
That's
been there
different.
enough. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this time to just get some shut eye.
And I was like,
Right.
party.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Go
Oh
ashore.
man. I don't know. My wife and I were just talking about maybe doing a cruise in April with the girls before the Sweet 16. So I don't know if we're going to do that. I mean, I have just while I'm talking about this, I have my own cruise actually.
No way.
We did the first one in March, and it left from New York, and it was a 7-day cruise, which I got roped into that. I did not know that I had a
Wow.
choice. So,
7
but
days.
that's a long time to be on, man. I'll tell you that much. And I don't mean on the boat. I mean on, like, if I'm the only person. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like I have 4 other
Right,
guys that can walk
right.
around and entertain people. So, but it was great, man. The first night that we left, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a cruise that almost tipped over in March, and that was our cruise. That
No
was
way.
the very first night. We were it was around midnight, and we had an after party at the club, and my DJ had just finished up DJing. I was like, I'm going to bed because I've got a whole week ahead of me. I've got to get some sleep or I won't have a voice. And so I went to my room and I sat on the bed for a little bit, scrolling through social media, and I heard like a rumbling sound. And I was like, oh, we must be about to pick up some speed and take off now, because I thought it was the engine. And then I felt like the pressure, like, when you turn in a car and you kind of lean a little bit and you turn
Yeah.
a corner. I
Yeah.
felt that a little bit, and I was like, oh, we must be turning into something, turning. And then I realized that wasn't the rumble of the engine. That was the wind blowing up against my balcony door. Just like, it was just like, and
Whoa.
it was sustained. And I was like, that's crazy. And then we started like leaning a little bit. And I was like, oh, let me get this. This is kind of cool. Let me show the fans, you know? So I pull out my camera, and as soon as I pull out my camera and I'm like, hey guys, look at this. Everything on my desk just went sliding. Glass had broken and
Oh
Yikes.
my
everything.
word.
And people were freaking out. And it turns out that I didn't realize how far we tipped over until we got home and my wife showed me the news. But like those boats, those lifeboats, were in the water on the other side of the ship. Like that's how
That's
far we had tipped.
terrifying.
And people would slid, like our security guy, he had slid across the floor, and fans were still in the lounge or in the club when all this
Oh
happened.
man.
Luckily, none of our people were hurt and everybody was okay. But man, that's ever since then I was like, man, railroads rock. We rock the ship.
What
Wow.
cruise line was it?
But it was Norwegian. But what happened was, I guess there was a tornado in Tennessee or Alabama or something, and the winds from that tornado just broadsided this ship, which was one of their
Wow.
bigger ships.
That's
And it was just so much
crazy.
surface area. Yeah. But no, the cruise itself was awesome. And
Besides the tipping over
yeah,
part.
besides everybody tipping over, it was great. We did I did an 80s and 90s R&B night.
Nice.
That went over really
Cool.
well with everyone. We had contests, and I would have private dinners with the winners. I did my concert, my music, of course. We had an RO karaoke night where I hosted karaoke, and we all got up and sang a bunch of stuff. And there were just so many different events for everybody, but it wasn't so much that it ate up everybody's trip. Like, we left it so that you could enjoy your trip and come in, and it was a vacation. It's not my boat is not nearly as crazy as New Kids, because my thing is more like a group of people. It's
Yeah.
not like I
Yeah.
have because when they first approached me, I was like, y'all know I can't sell a ship, right? they're like, no, we don't need you to do that. We just want you to get a group of your fans to come with you, and they have access to your stuff and blah blah blah. And I was like, all right. I was nervous. I
That's
didn't think
really
anybody would
cool.
come,
That is
but we had
cool.
a nice little group. And the last night I had dinner with everyone, and I wanted to know what they liked most about the trip. And they were all like, honestly, we didn't think we'd get as much FaceTime with you as we did. And that was literally what everyone said. They were so happy to be able to just hang out with me. And it made me humbled, like, just to feel like when I remember at one point I was at the club and I was talking to some girl that wasn't in our group. And she was, she was requiring some attention, like she was asking a lot of questions and stuff like that. And I'm talking to her, but I'm like, at the same time, I see my group over here. I'm like, I got to go with these people because these people are literally paying for my time. These are my people. And I'm, as nice as you are, lady, I got to go,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, these people like paid a lot of money just to come and hang out with me and have a great vacation. And I think 95% of them are coming back on the next cruise. So I'm doing another cruise in October of 2020.
Nice.
And
Cool.
so I think we've maybe tripled our group. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah. So that, anybody has any questions about that cruise?
Yeah.
Again, it's rocruise.com. Alcohol is included, so the alcohol package is all included in the price.
Woo!
Sweet.
2,500 for a balcony, something like that,
Hey.
for two people. And
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah,
We'll make sure to
no,
put
it's
that on the website too. So if you guys go
Oh,
to
thank
our
you.
website, you can click on the link and you can go right to it. So
Get some more
Yes,
info and
that'd be
pricing and all
awesome.
that good stuff.
yes, of course.
Yeah,
Definitely. We
so-
actually your music is on YouTube as well.
Mhm.
And we'll
Yep.
put some of that on our website as well so you guys can go on. And if you've never listened to Roger, now's your
Yeah.
chance. Go right on.
Now's a
and-
great time to
Check
start.
it out.
Yeah.
Check it out. Check out the latest single,
Yes.
Last Christmas, which I am really proud of the way that song came out.
It's beautiful. It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you. That's my favorite Christmas song of all time. And I got to tell you, the versions that I've heard over the last 15 years have just made me cringe. There's not one version that I've actually liked. And
This was very well done.
I-
And it's one of my favorites
you.
too. So
Yeah.
when somebody does one of your favorites, you're kind of like, oh, But I was
Yeah.
the whole time. It's beautiful. You did such a beautiful job. It's
Thank
really
you.
is.
Yeah, it's a sad song,
It
and
It
is.
really
and the
is.
only thing that makes
Yes.
it kind of bubbly is the original music in the original. It's like bum 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 bum. It's like, oh yeah, this is a nice song. I like this one, Last Christmas. And then you listen to the words when you really break down the lyrics, like this is really a sad song.
It's
And I
Yes.
wanted
it's
to
so sad.
Yes.
convey that. Yeah. So
And you did.
I
You
slowed
definitely
it
did.
down. I dropped the register, a little bit, dropped the key, and man, I'm so proud of that work. Like, I think those are, and forgive me for saying this, I think those are the best vocals that I've laid down to date.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And thank you. And then the video came out really good. I don't know if you guys saw the
Oh,
video.
I definitely saw the video. I
The video.
actually played it like 3 times today because
Oh,
I really enjoyed it so much.
thank you.
It's just like what you said. You slowed it down, and
Yeah.
it really like captured the sadness of the song.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah,
did.
that's exactly what I was going for. And that video, I'm glad it's done. It was the hardest video I've ever shot because we were shooting in 15-degree weather at 1 o'clock in the morning in
Wow.
some points, and the wind was brutal. And I was worried that the lip syncing was going to be off because I couldn't feel my lips. And I was like, when your lips feel numb and kind of swollen,
Yeah.
like I'm sure you can see in some of the shots that you're like, wow, this guy's cold because my nose is red.
I'll
My
have to go
cheeks
back
are
and
red.
watch now.
Yeah. Oh, I
Again.
am freezing. And then I'm like, are we good? He's like, no, let's do it again. Another take, another take, another take. But the hardest part didn't even make it in the video. And I'm kind of sad, but I may understand why. We rented an apartment on the 28th floor of this building, and we had a nice balcony. And, I was like, we shot the inside scenes. And I was like, let's go out on the balcony. So I bring the chair in, bring the table, bring the other chair in, so I have space. I made the mistake of looking down from the balcony.
Oh,
I am terrified of heights, and I
Uh-oh.
mean terrified.
I can relate to that
And
Me too.
I would not let go of the rail. He's like, man, scoot up just a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And I was scooting up just a tiny bit. And there was a little patch of ice on the balcony, and my foot was on it. And all I could picture myself doing was slipping on that ice and somehow falling back up and over the rail, which was, it's impossible.
It's not going to happen, but
But in your head,
my
it's
mind,
possible.
right.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be the one guy that defies gravity and goes up over the rail.
Right.
And so he's like, okay, he goes, can you get into it a little bit more? And I'm like, okay. So I move my hands. He goes, no, I need you to really kind of move. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, Chris is the director. Like, Chris, I cannot move my feet. And my legs were locked in position, and my feet were hurting because I was clawing the bottom of my shoes to grab onto the concrete if I could. So we did about 4 or 5 takes of that. And as soon as he said, cut, I mean, we got it or whatever, I jumped inside, and
I'm
I was
outta
like, I
here.
never have to do that again.
Yeah.
And so then I watched the video, and I was like, man, I know it's got this beautiful scene because the city's behind me. And he's like, what he told me was, he's like, no, because it didn't work. He's like, I think I was too close or whatever. I think it was the fear and terror on my face
Yeah.
that ruined, because there was no way I delivered that song and conveyed sadness. It was terror and fear.
That's really not what we were looking for, but
yeah. Yeah. So I was sad that I didn't make it, but I'm really proud of it. And I
as you should be. It's like I said, not to keep saying it, but it's beautiful, and you did such a great job on it.
Thank you, and I hope your listeners go out and check it out and watch the video as well, and share it if you can. I think on Facebook, like the first night, it had almost 80 or 90 shares or something, which was pretty incredible, for people to get behind me like that. And again, blockheads are a force, man.
Yeah.
They are a force. If you got them, man, you've got them. And I should know I'm one of them,
Yeah.
So,
We've been very lucky to have a lot of them on our side too.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Yep, for
yeah.
real.
I mean,
you would know. Yeah.
They're what make this podcast. So
Yeah.
we do it for them, and we do it for us too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys? There should be like a BSC podcast. Is there one of those? I'm sure there's one. You gotta be where everybody. Because listen, I get in some of those groups, and everyone's like, "No drama here. We're not gonna do this and that," and then they start posting about other people's drama from
Yeah.
other
Right.
groups. And so I'm like, I mean, listen, I'm entertained. I'm sitting there like every now and then I'll chime in just a little bit, but I read a lot of that stuff. I'm like, wow, some of these people are really kind of over the edge, crazy.
Yeah. We have been very lucky that we have not gotten any of those stories.
Nope.
We
Oh,
have not
good.
gotten one. Like, if we did, we would very nicely say, I'm really sorry, but we can't read this. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we
Good for you.
kind of pride ourselves on we do really try to be like super positive, because like people,
Absolutely.
when they work all day, they don't, you
Yeah.
know, there's
Right.
other places they can go to like get into that stuff. And like, we
Right,
all look
right.
at it, we all read it, we know. But like
Right,
when they
right.
come to our group, all we want them to see is like positive stuff. So no negative stuff. We don't talk
Yeah.
about families. We don't talk about rumors. We don't talk about any of that stuff. You just come for
Right.
positive
Exactly.
feedback.
That's
And-
funny.
Positive stories,
that's-
positive stuff.
Yeah.
Positive vibes.
That's typically my whole MO as well.
Yeah.
I always try to be as positive and happy as I can, despite, whatever, struggles or reality or frustrations that I have going on. Because again, people deal with their own problems. They don't want to hear mine. Now listen, I'm human. Every now and then I will vent.
Yeah, us too.
Oh, totally.
Us too.
but-
We definitely do that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's a place for you to do that. It's a platform. But every now and then I will do that. But for the most part, I'm like, man, listen, everybody's got their own issues. Everybody's got their own
Right.
struggles. Nobody's perfect. I have issues like anybody else would. I'm not perfect, and so let's just spread some love here. So
Right.
that's
It's what
I
it's all
got you, man.
about, and that's
It
what
really
it
is.
should be with the blockhead community too. We've said this
Yeah.
numerous times. Like,
Yes.
just keep scrolling if you need to.
Right.
Keep
Right. That's
scrolling.
just it. Just keep
You
scrolling.
don't have to. It doesn't have to be a debate. This isn't the debate team
Right.
in high school.
Right.
Like, this is
My experience is different from your experience
Right.
in this
There's
life.
tons. I mean, and it's funny because once you put it out there, it's out there, and you get like there's times, I don't know, I've done like frustration tweets before,
Oh yes,
and
I've
then it's like,
done that.
and you're mad in that moment, and then you go back like the next day and you're like, oh God, I didn't really need to say that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Right? You
Right.
kind of regret it a little bit, and I do that more on my sports account now.
Mhm.
Because I have two separate Twitter accounts, because my manager got mad at me a couple years ago because she's like, I cannot find your music. No one can find your music because all you're posting about is the Jayhawks. She goes, and it looks like the Jayhawks threw up all over your Twitter. She's like, can you start a second account? And I was like, yes, I will. So I did. But that's generally where I'll go, and I don't typically post political stuff and my music stuff. I'll do that on my sports account as well.
Yeah.
But again, even when I'm looking at other sports fans, like of rival teams or whatever, and they say something and it pisses me off, I'll start typing, and then I'm like, come on, man, what? You're not changing anybody's mind,
Right.
Right.
And I'll just delete it and I'll go about my day.
Right.
And don't be mad in the moment, because that moment will last forever once you put it
Exactly.
out there.
Yeah, IKEA
So-
didn't do anything different with that tweet that I sent out the other day about IKEA. They didn't do anything different. They just told me to clear my browser history.
Oh.
And then I looked at it and I'm like, I'm so dumb. Why did I tweet at IKEA? So it's, yeah, I mean, just take a second, it will, I need to practice what I preach, but
yeah, it's hard. You're human though. Like
Yeah,
I said, we're all
yeah.
human. So
we all love those
it's,
stories too. I'm gonna be I like to hear them. I like to hear the
Yeah.
crazy stories. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I do.
Right.
I'm
No.
human. I am a human.
They're entertaining.
We all
And it's
like to
not-
hear them.
and it's not about you,
Right.
So that makes it even better.
Exactly.
No.
The only problem we have is like when they're told and then people like go crazy like about
Yeah.
them, it's like, all right, okay, reel it in.
Right.
Right. Oh man, I love it. It's a crazy world to be in, but it's fun, man. There's always entertainment in Blockhead Nation.
Yes.
You
So
know,
much
so
entertainment.
So true.
you know,
Yes.
there's always something that's you know, but I have nothing but love for Blockheads, and again, they've introduced me to a lot of my fans. I think one of my biggest fans actually has tattoos of my stuff, and
Wow.
I remember the very first time. This was after the first album came out, and I was sitting in the house, and I'm looking at Twitter, and I was tagged in a tweet, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, is that lady getting a tattoo on her foot of my name? And I was
That
like,
must
honey,
be
is this?
crazy.
I was like, honey, is this real? And she goes, I don't know, is it? I'm like, I don't know, but she put R&B pop writer on her. I can't remember if it was on her foot or her ankle, um, and I was like, I can never quit music now. I can never quit music because of this one girl. Like I have to be a singer forever now. And so I thought that was a really cool thing.
That's
I reached out to
cool.
her,
Yeah.
whatever. And then as time went on, I learned how much my music and my posts and my personality and my love for her has gotten her through a lot, you know. And I love her dearly now. Like she's like literally just such a sweetheart. Her and her friend. You guys know Jackie Richards? She's always on the cruise. She's in a wheelchair.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
We know
Jackie.
So
Jackie.
yeah,
Yes, because she's friends
her,
with Steph. Steph is one of my really
yeah,
good
yeah,
friends.
Steph,
Yes.
exactly. Jackie and Jen is the girl. Whenever I go to Kansas, they'll drive 8 hours to come down to Kansas to watch my show.
That's
And
so
then drive.
awesome.
Sometimes they'll drive right back the same night. It's crazy. I love them dearly. But Jen went on and got a tattoo of one of my hashtags is want it, earn it, get it, deserve it. And she got that tattooed on her ribs, and she looks
Wow.
phenomenal. She's been like working out, and she's getting in great shape, and she's lost a bunch of weights from Jen. Forgive me for saying this if you're listening to this. I'm really proud of you. But she's lost a lot of weight since I met her, and she really uh, is inspired by some of the things that I do and say, and vice versa. Not the last time I saw her, I don't think. The last show that I remember her at, oh, no, I'm sorry. This was a year ago, actually almost a year ago. I did a show in Kansas, and she came out, and she showed me her new tattoo, and it was my signature, my initials, RO, that was my signature tattooed behind her ear. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is
Wow.
really,
Oh
really
my
cool. Like
gosh.
when
You're
you
like,
really
that's my
touch someone like that.
signature. It's on your
Yeah.
ear.
Yeah. I'm like
That's so
always
cool.
there. Oh, and she's got my other hashtag, which is X freaking O, which just means I freaking love you so much. Here's a
That's
big
cool.
hug and kiss, you know. She's got that too. But yeah, I'm so thankful for the new kids and their fan base, because they've really accepted me and taken me in as one of their own, and they really support me, and I'm really blessed and humbled to have that, and thankful.
Yeah. And we are especially thankful that you came on our podcast. So
Yeah.
thank you
No.
so much for coming on and just sharing with us like your story and how you became
Oh,
a
of course.
blockhead and all about your
Yes.
music. I'm excited to share this with
I
everybody
learned
else.
some things today.
Yeah.
Well, I am thankful for you guys having me. I really am. And I know we talked about like 80s and 90s movies and stuff like that. I'm going to say La Bamba is my favorite movie.
Yes. That was our
Because
question. Yes.
yeah, because that is like I could relate to Richie Valens being Mexican, being a young kid.
That was
And
one of
that
that's one
movie.
of my top 10 favorite movies. I think we've got a
Yes.
lot in common here.
I think so. I think so. And so that's actually La Bamba's actually the very first song I ever sang on stage. It was my
Really?
dad's band, actually. Yeah. And then I would say, we talked about maybe like a sitcom, or like
What
what
if you could
family.
live in any 80s or 90s? So these are our 5 questions, guys. We're bringing them back. We're bringing them back for Roger
Yeah,
Ortega.
we're bringing them back.
So the
Okay.
first one was name an 80s or 90s movie you've seen at least a dozen times. That was La Bamba. And now
Yes.
this one is if you could live in any 80s or 90s TV sitcom home, which one would it be?
Different Strokes. Mr. Drummer was
Hey!
rich.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
That's a good choice.
That
Yes,
is a
it
great choice.
was.
We haven't heard that one yet.
No, we haven't.
That's an awesome
great.
choice.
All right, so here's another one. What song of the 80s or 90s brings back the best memories for you? And feel free to share one of those memories.
Oh my God, there's so many of them, but I think I'm gonna say Boys to Men, End of the Road.
That's a good
Because
one.
it brings back a point in my life when my group was really starting to take off, right before we got the record deal to come out here, and we were full of dreams and full of hope, and we loved singing together, and we fought with each other all the time too, but that's what groups do. And I mean, there's so many, but that one just kind of jumps out to me, and also does because I met my wife because of that group. I met her because of music.
Aww.
And when we got married in 2008, right after I saw the new kids, literally, she asked if my group would get back together and perform at our wedding. And we did, and we performed with my dad's band. And one of the songs we did was, and the very last song of the night that we did was End of the Road. And I pulled up old members of my group, and everybody was Heather was crying. My wife was crying because she was sad that the wedding night was over now. That song would probably do it for me. Yeah.
That's a great memory and a great song too.
That really
is a great
is.
song.
It is.
Okay, so what is one thing that you should know how to do by now, but that you don't know how to do?
Play the guitar. I made a New Year's goal, that I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and I would play a song live at the end of the year on Facebook. I've set several. I always make lots of New Year's goals. One of them was to quit cursing. And every time I curse, I have to do 20 push-ups. In January, I did like 360 push-ups. And, but it's since tailed off, and there's been like some months where I haven't cursed at all,
Wow.
And so
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm that cheesy guy
jacked.
saying, oh yeah.
Because I would be push-up city.
Yeah. The other one that I made was that I wasn't going to miss a workout in 2019, and I haven't missed a workout yet. In fact, I'm going on my 3rd year with that goal without missing one single workout in almost 3 years.
That's inspiring.
That's
right
6
there.
days a week.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Make it a habit. Make it a habit. That's my hashtag that I use. I post my workouts every single day on the stories, just like a clip of them, to prove, because it keeps me accountable.
Yes.
But
it also makes me want to get up and walk, just so you know.
There you go.
So when I see those, I'm like, well, I need to get up and do something. Here we go.
And listen, most of the time I don't want to do it. I don't want to go downstairs and work out, but I made a promise, and I always keep my word, or I try to. And the guitar was one of the things I wanted to learn how to do, and I can barely play one song. There's a lot. I've been trying it all day today, and I can't get through even a few bars without making mistakes. But the song will be played live in a couple of weeks, mistakes and all, on Facebook. So because it was my New Year's goal. So that's what it is. I should know how to play the guitar by now, but I don't.
But you kind of do, because
I kind of do.
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
play. Yeah. So
I guess, yeah.
But it still works.
Well,
It still works.
I wish I was better.
There you go.
Okay, so the last question is, what motto or quote do you try to live by?
Oh, I mentioned earlier, want it, earn it, get it, deserve it.
Yeah.
You want something, you got to earn it. And this way, when you get it, you know that you deserve it. So
I love it.
Me too.
And make it a habit. Make it a
Yes.
habit, and want it, earn it, get it, deserve it. I do have a new one, though, that I'm kind of working in, and it's just want it more than you don't.
Okay, awesome.
And because that can
Yes,
be
I
applied
like
to
that.
anything, you can
It
you can
is
do anything you
true.
want.
It's
You just
true.
gotta want it more than you don't want it.
Right.
So,
That's a great way
That's
of
that.
thinking about things.
You know what? That
Yeah.
really is.
You have to want it more than you don't.
You've inspired
yeah.
me.
You are
Thank you.
very inspirational. Let me just say.
Oh, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you.
I will
Oh,
let
I've
you
learned
know
from
if
the
you've
best, as you
inspired
can
me to
see.
like keep going with my workout routine. So far,
Go
so
for it.
good, but I gotta
Yeah.
get better. I gotta want it more than I don't.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, Roger,
Oh.
you have been amazing, and we just want to say thank you so much for coming on, because we've been wanting to have you on for so long, and I'm just so glad that it happened. And I really
know,
wish
me
that we
too.
were going to see each other at the cruise, but
I'm sad.
we'll have
I'm
to
sad about
meet
that.
each other some other place, some other time. So that will be fun.
Yes.
For real.
Well, anytime you're in New York, let me know.
Definitely,
Okay.
for sure.
Cool. Awesome.
For sure.
I would do everything I can to come out and meet you guys and hang
Awesome.
out and say hey. So,
I will definitely be there in either May or June, because I'm going to go see Joey and the Wanderer, because
Oh, right.
hello,
Oh, that's
Dion.
right.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's right.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
So I
Well,
will be
keep me
there.
posted.
I will
I
for
should be there, too.
sure. That will be awesome.
All right. And if I'm up there, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do, because we would love to hang out with you. We'll show you
Absolutely.
some of, Maine's best places.
Come have some lobster with us.
Yeah. That would,
Oh my
And some
God, I would
Allen's
love that.
coffee brandy.
yeah.
I think the closest I've been is Rhode Island, so I would love to go to Maine. So I
Oh
just
my
might do that.
gosh.
You got to come
It's
up.
a great place for a family vacation.
It really is. It really
Really?
is.
In the summer.
In the summertime.
In
Do
the
not
summer.
come in the winter.
Unless
In
you
the
like to
summertime.
ski.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. A good time to come is like July.
July's
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. All right. Well, I'm gonna do everything I can to make that happen next
That would be
summer.
awesome. So
yeah.
tell us where everybody can find you, and we're also going to post this on our website too, so you
Right.
guys can go and follow Roger if you aren't following him, and you're gonna want to go on Facebook because you're gonna want to see him play guitar. So
That's
where
right.
can we find
That's
you?
right. So Twitter and Instagram is R&B Pop Writer, but I'm going to spell it because it's spelled differently. It's RNB as in boy, P as in Paul, O, P as in Paul, WRYT as in Tom, R&B Pop Writer. Or you could search Roger Ortega too. I'm sure there's a lot of them, but you'll know me by my bald head. Actually, I'm wearing a hat in one of my pictures, so you may not know that I'm bald. Anyway, so R&B Pop Writer or Roger Ortega. Facebook, I don't really use my business page, my pro page as much anymore because I just kind of everybody's on my personal page.
Yeah.
So if you guys find me on my personal page, Roger Ortega, just send me a friendship request. I'll accept it. I do have to kick a lot of people out because a lot of them are Grammy people that I don't really talk to or use on that page.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get full, don't worry, I'll clean that out and accept you. So
Awesome.
Aw.
Oh,
Yes.
you're so nice.
and that's that's and RogerOrtega.com, which is in dire need of an update. So
Hey,
yeah.
I'm a web developer, so hit me
there
up.
you go. Oh, let's talk.
Yeah.
So yeah. I just need to get that thing updated. So
Yeah.
that's RogerOrtega.com is still there. So
Awesome.
but yeah, that's it. I thank you so much
Roger,
for having me,
thank
ladies.
you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
That's it. That's the end of the episode.
That's it. And maybe we'll do this
All
again
right.
sometime.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Maybe on the cruise. The next cruise.
The
That'd be
next
cool.
cruise, because
Yes.
I'll be on the
That's
next
right.
cruise.
Yes, Brooke will be on the next one. Come
Perfect,
hell
me
or
too.
high water.
Exactly. Come hell or high water.
Or-
yes, yes.
Or cruise ship
tipping
tipping.
yes.
Well, thank you so much, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.